from your perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges you've seen executives and professionals have with burnout?
Number one is kind of what I said earlier. Number one is being just knowing that's what I'm experiencing, right? Because oftentimes, just like most everything else that you get diagnosed for, like it starts with something, but you don't even know what's wrong. And then you have to go through the symptoms, the signs, and say, okay, this is what I'm experiencing, right? That's probably step one. That's the struggle is I know something's a little off, don't know what it is. So that's number one. I would say, secondly, people, executives, mid-level managers, I don't have time to stop for this. I don't have time to stop for this. Whatever this is, I've got to figure out how to push through. And if you've gotten to an executive level, if there's a habit that you've created, it's called muscle through. I believe it should become a world-renowned competency. I know we have like communication and customer service, right? But I think muscle through should absolutely be a competency because you have effectively learned how to do that if you've gotten to that position in your career, and you will sideline your mental health, your physical health, and your emotional health in an effort to continue to muscle through what you're experiencing. So those are the two things that I think are the two biggest challenges: identifying and awareness around what you're actually experiencing, and then to challenge yourself not to just muscle through, because I still have a deadline, I still have to deliver, but you might even need a leave of absence. How do I do the work and take a leave so I can take care of myself?
Yeah, that I like how you touched on that muscle through. I think some of the ways that I've heard it put and discussed with clients, grit,
Mm-hmm.
resilience, kind of that mental fortitude. And I don't know if you see this with your clients, Jamila, but it's actually, I think, a lot tougher for former athletes, high performers, um, people who high achievers, because they start to rely on that, muscle through that grit, and it can be at the expense of their mental, physical, emotional health. And so for them to take a break is different than I think someone who's kind of used to coasting, to get certain people, high achievers, to slow down, and have the time, to your point, to address the burnout can be a bit more challenging than for other people. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. You put it very eloquently. It's probably almost I'm not going to say impossible because eventually you're going to get stopped, but it's almost impossible for high achievers and people that muscle through and have built that muscle. It's almost impossible to get them to turn off. And you couple that with someone that has played sports, because you're taught to play through, nicks, little small injuries that aren't going to damage you if you keep playing. So you're taught this function at an early age. Oh, it's just a little, I'm going to be good. I coach basketball now, and I always tell my kids, because in basketball, you're going to jam fingers, you're going to break fingers just because of the speed of the ball. And if somebody touches it, it's going to hit your finger awkwardly and, break it or jam it. Known fact. So I always tell them, I've broken all but one of my fingers in my lifetime, and I never missed a game or practice because of it. Because once, I mean, there's all they can do, unless it's like severe, like dislocation or something, is keep it together, let it heal, adjust, or put it back. That's all, and keep
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
And it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna hurt, and you're just gonna get used to playing while it's hurt. So when you learn that at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, so think about any other pain that can come from burnout in the workplace, whether that's chronic shoulder pain, neck pain, headaches, like you mentioned earlier, migraines, severe fatigue. Oh, it's just like the broken finger when I was 13. I just keep playing. It's just going to hurt. So to get that high achiever, former athlete, combined, accomplished a lot in their career, to get them to slow down and stop and address what they're feeling physiologically is very difficult because you've been trained to muscle through and persevere, grit, resilience. And I think the thing that I want everyone to be aware of that's listening is that that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with you, because the very thing that we're talking about is a strength. It's a good thing that you're able to get through some things and muscle through some things. You're probably also the person that gets things done in your family and makes sure that things stay afloat in your family. And it's a great strength. But every great strength also provides a blind spot for you. And this could very well be that blind spot. And so that goes with any strength that you might have in your life. There's a blind spot that that strength creates. It's just part of being a human being. So there's nothing wrong. It's just be aware. Be aware of the fact that that's your superpower. And because it's my superpower, I've got to have a Robin next to me to offset.
Great way to put that.